Hello and welcome to Yoga with Michelle. I am Michelle Harris, and today we have a special guest, my friend and wellness coach, Brittni Paris. Brittni and I have known each other since the first week of college, and we've been dear friends ever since. Brittni is a wellness coach and Smart Fit Women, or at Smart Fit Women, and an adjunct teacher at Pepperdine University in California. Let me read just a little bit about Brittni from the Smart Fit Women website. Brittni is an ACSM certified clinical exercise physiologist. She longs to see women have the energy and confidence to live out their full potential, and wellness coaching is the avenue to help you do just that. Through her coaching process, you'll get off the path of shame and failure and start pursuing life-giving health goals that help you reach your personal picture of health. Brittni's background in psychology and health and exercise science blend behavior change and motivation with practical tools to get you up and moving. Wow, Brittni. Awesome. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to chat with you as always.
I know, it's so good to see you. So I guess my first question is, I guess the reason I wanted to do this is so everyone could get an idea of what wellness coaching is, what y'all have to offer at Smart Fit Women, and really the benefits of it. Because as I mentioned to you earlier, my mom, she was like, I don't even know what all these terms are anymore, totally different. And it's helpful to just really lay it out and explain what it is y'all do. So let's start. What is wellness coaching?
Oh, the $1 million question. So basically, I like to describe wellness coaching as the cross between a personal trainer and a counselor, and where that meets in the middle. So essentially, what we do when we meet with people as we wellness coach them is basically like what you and I are doing. We can meet over Zoom and we chat and we have conversations about what their ultimate vision of health looks like for them, because that's different for everybody. And then we get really clear on that picture and kind of where they're heading. And then we back it up to longer term goals and short term goals and helping them set those. But essentially what we're doing is, instead of the counseling piece, because we're not counselors, and instead of the personal training piece where it's like we're jumping right in, we're doing exercise, we're doing stuff like that, we're actually talking about the things before they jump in and do them. Because we find that a lot of times people, all of us, we want to jump in and get going when we want to make changes, and we don't necessarily know our whys or the big motivations behind that. And so wellness coaching really helps to figure out, why am I doing this? And then what will work for me so that I can actually make sustainable changes with my health.
That makes sense. So you say sustainable changes. Do you mean kind of giving people the tools that they can then use on their own?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the goal would be that eventually they don't need us anymore. So essentially we kind of work as a guide along the process of them figuring out what works for them.
That's a pretty phenomenal business model, I think. It's like,
Absolutely.
hey, how can you not need us anymore and be the best version of yourself?
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
All right. So would you say that wellness coaching is for people that are already healthy?
Ooh, I love that question. Yes. And I say that because I myself have gotten to benefit from wellness coaching. And the thing is that we're all in a different stage of change in different parts of our health and different aspects. And so just like a counselor would benefit from receiving counseling themselves, a wellness coach or somebody in the health field, or someone who's maybe not in the health field but just living a healthy lifestyle in general, can still benefit, because it's kind of a continuum. We're never going to arrive at like a perfect state of health. And so there's usually something that every person has, maybe even just in the back of their mind, of like, I'd kind of like to change this, or I'd kind of like to work on this aspect of health.
Cool.
So
So
yeah.
kind of like an addition to the tool belt of health. So along with maybe nutrition and exercise, wellness coaching can just be part of that overall process.
Absolutely. And again, since it's about making those sustainable changes, you can basically bring a guide alongside with you to help you walk through that process. And then again, hopefully you won't need us anymore after that process.
Great. That's awesome. So what would you say to someone who says that they don't have time, money, resources, fill in the blank to really focus on their health?
Absolutely. Well, first off, we totally understand that. And this is probably the most common thing that we get when people find out what wellness coaching is. They're like, yeah, that sounds great. I would love to do it, but I don't have the time or the money, resources, whatever at this point. And one, super understandable. But two, I think recognizing at what point this could be helpful to you. So if it is something where you've been struggling with making certain health changes, you know you really want to do it, but for whatever reason it's just not sticking, or you just need some extra tools and a guide along the way, then it can be a worthwhile investment. And the nice thing about most wellness coaches, and us in particular, is that we offer different packages so that people can decide, okay, how much money do I have to put towards this, to invest in this? And then what works with my schedule too. And we really try to be very flexible with folks as well, because we know people have lives. You know, you've got work, you've got kids, you've got a spouse, lots of different things going on. Or you could be a college student, or, you know, just a lot of different aspects that can come into play. So one, it's really flexible, but two, it's kind of recognizing, where am I getting stuck? And then seeing this as a really good investment to help you get unstuck. And then you can keep progressing in that health change that you want to make.
That makes sense. Kind of like if it's an important enough thing, you will make the time, but it sounds like it wouldn't be a bi-weekly or even a weekly commitment. It could be, you know, every other week. It could be, you know, once a month.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we offer different packages for that purpose then too. So people can decide, okay, one, how much accountability do I want when I'm working with a wellness coach? And two, how much time do I actually have to, you know, have meetings with coaches as well? So we really try and make it flexible. And I think that's a piece too, like you said, you know, seeing something as an investment and what that looks like. And it's easy sometimes to invest in like quick fixes, but we typically find that those, you know, don't work. And most people who listen to this will probably say, yeah, I've tried at least one of those in my life, and I'm not still continuing on with those habits. So I think recognizing that if I want this to work, let me invest that money that maybe I put in a quick fix into this, and then I'll actually reap the benefits out of it.
That makes sense. So it kind of leads me to my next question. Would you make me eat certain foods or do CrossFit? Like I know that a lot of people, they have in this mind that, I don't know, you see these YouTube videos like, I'm going to sell you this thing and it's going to do this and you have to follow this program. So is that what you would be offering?
Wonderful question. The great thing that I love about wellness coaching is that even though we have expertise, like you just read off the credentials and stuff that I have and things like that, and we use that expertise in case you're heading off the rails, you know, like, oh, I'm going to go bench press 500 pounds and I've never lifted before. You know, we'll pull you back in, you know, to make sure you don't hurt yourself. But really, that's the only reason we are going to pull on our expertise and lead as an expert in that sense. Otherwise, we consider our clients to be the experts in their own lives, but sometimes we don't have that dedicated time to just sit down, reflect with somebody as to what we really want, what's working for us, what's not working for us when we pursue goals. And so we actually are asking you questions and reflecting back to you things that you say so that you can really hone in on who you are, what you want, what works for you, and what goals you want to pursue. That's the fun thing too, is that I don't set them for you. You set them based on your perfect picture of health kind of in the future.
I think that's awesome. So it sounds like instead of you just like telling people do this, do this, do this, and then you'll get A, B, and C result, it's, hey, what is it that you want to get out of it? What are your goals? and where do you see yourself, and how can I just come along and be part of the journey?
Exactly.
Cool.
Well
That's
said.
awesome. So I guess this next question is, what would you say to someone who is thinking about making healthier changes in their life, but they're not sure where to start? They feel overwhelmed by all the information and misinformation that's out there.
Absolutely. I say, and people don't want to hear this because for whatever reason, when we decide, okay, I want to make a change with my health, we feel like we have to overhaul everything and we have to do it all perfectly. And if we don't meet whatever standard we've set for ourselves, well, then it's all a wash and we might as well just go back to how we were living. And so we set ourselves up for like this huge failure almost, because it's trying to make too many changes into a life that is already full. And so essentially I would say start small, start with one or two small habits that you can start. So if it's a movement, some sort of exercise that you want, then start just adding more movement into your day than you're currently doing. And if it's a nutrition thing, start eating something green at every meal. So start really, really small. And that can be hard to hear because change takes time, results take time, but really you'll set yourself up to actually see that change over time than if it's like, well, let me do a crash diet, which you would know more about, or let me do from your nutrition background, or let me do a hardcore boot camp, but then I only do it for 6 weeks and then I'm zonked and I'm ready to give up. And so just incorporating those small things make it actually work in your real life. And then you see that change down the line as well, because it does add up.
So you're talking more of a sustainable process for lifelong success rather than, like you were saying, oh, I can do this thing in 6 weeks. Well, shit, now what do I do at the end of it?
Exactly. And a lot of times what happens when people are doing like a big time like fad diet or crash diet, or doing like some sort of super hardcore exercise when they're not used to that, is that they'll do whatever that program is for the time being, and then they'll go back to easier habits afterwards. And essentially, if a goal was weight loss, essentially we see that weight coming back, which makes sense, but we just don't think about it a lot of times. We're like, okay, I've got this go-getter attitude. Let me just crush that diet or crush that workout and maybe see some changes. But then, like you said, it's not sustainable.
And it seems like a terrible cycle too for your mental state. So I can do this, I'm going to do it. You do it for the 6, 8 weeks, whatever the program is. And afterward, like you said, you go back to the easy lifestyle, and then you're frustrated and the cycle kind of starts all over again.
Yes, absolutely. And then you get into, like you were saying, kind of the mental piece of it, where it's you're frustrated with yourself. And we actually see that self-compassion actually feeds healthy habits a lot better than self-condemnation. And so having this perspective of, I'm not going to do it perfectly, but I can still do my best and I can still make changes over time, really helps to have it feel less like you're in this crazy cycle, like you were saying.
I love that self-compassion. I mean, couldn't we all use that in every other aspect of our
Yeah,
lives?
absolutely. We're all still learning it, like, oh, wait, I wasn't very kind to myself there. Let me try that again.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. All right. So this next question, I guess it's my last question for the official questions. What one thing, which I know is hard because I can never just say one thing when people ask me that question. What one thing would you say that all women need to start doing today in order to reach their health and fitness goals?
Oh, that's great. I would say the main thing is to know what you're aiming towards and why. And so that's something that we do with wellness coaching. In the very first session is we work on something called a wellness vision. And so we ask a lot of questions so that we can get really clear on what someone's picture of health is. And that is so different for everybody. For one person, it could be, I really want to make sure that I'm healthy and can get pregnant. Another person could be, I already have grandkids and I want to live a super long life and be able to play with them, get up and down off the floor when I'm playing with them, all that stuff. And so it's just so different. And I think sometimes we have this nebulous cloud of like, I want to be healthier, but we don't know what that means. So when we're not aiming towards something specific, it's really hard to know, well, are we being successful? Are we not? Do we need to change things? Mm-hmm. So I think getting really clear on what it is to them to be healthy, like what does that mean? And then to really hone in on why, like what good comes from that? Why is that motivating to you? So again, the case of the grandmother, it's like, well, I adore my family. I adore my grandkids. I want to be there for all their milestones, stuff like that. And so I think getting to the core of why does this matter and what good can come from it really helps us on days where maybe we don't feel like doing those healthier habits, because there will be those days for all of us.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting. You're saying like find your goal and your why. Would you say that more intrinsic motivation or extrinsic motivation is sort of the driving factor for success for your health and fitness goals, or would it be like a combination of the two? Because you're talking about you're this grandmother wanting to be there for her grandkids, and so it sounds a little bit like I'm there for my grandkids, so there's an external, but then it's also so I myself can physically be moving with them.
Yes, great question. I think there are definitely outside factors that can feed into that, like other people. It could be too, I want to live a long, healthy life with my spouse. I want to travel with my spouse after we retire, things like that. So I definitely think people can affect us and affect why we set our goals and stuff, but truly it has to come from an intrinsic thing. So thinking about the person who's maybe been given a diagnosis of high blood pressure, let's say, and the doctor is like, okay, you need to lose weight, you need to start exercising, you need to change your diet, all these different things. That's not going to be motivating to the person for very long. It may motivate them for a second because they're afraid, or, they're just like, well, my doctor said I need to do this. But with wellness coaching, we actually work to tap into what is going to motivate them specifically, like what's their why, not what's a doctor telling them, what's family telling them, stuff like that. And so I would say more so the intrinsic motivation is the piece that we're looking for. And the cool thing is that everybody's got it in there and everybody has it for health specifically. It's just a matter of kind of, who is it Michelangelo that carved away and said, the David statue was in there. He just had to remove all the extra around it. And that's kind of what we're doing too, is we're just trying to clear away the layers and see what motivates you specifically.
That's awesome. So if somebody wanted more information about wellness coaching, where would you send them?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is Smart Fit Womxn with an X instead of an E. .com, and you can go there to see our wellness coaching packages. I also write a monthly blog just to encourage people in their health journeys as well. So you can see all that on there, and you can contact us through that. Sorry, someone is starting a lawnmower.
Hey, everyone loves sitting outside.
Exactly.
Your life, I guess.
But you can also follow us on social media as well. So it's Smart Fit Womxn, again, an X instead of an E, on Instagram and Facebook. And we're consistently posting stuff to encourage you with your health habits. And we really try and do it from a gracious standpoint as well. Again, back to that self-compassion piece, just because we know, one, that works, and two, it's so much more fun to have compassion on yourself and on each other. So that's really one of our goals for those platforms as well.
So no judgment, right? No judgment anywhere.
Exactly. We're all on our own health journey. So
awesome. Well, I'll definitely be putting the links to the Facebook, the Instagram, your website down below. I myself have benefited from wellness coaching. As much as I love Brittni, she didn't health coach me because we're too close, and it would probably just wind up being us chatting. But she does have a colleague, Kelly Walters, who is also part of Smart Fit Womxn. And do you want to give a quick blurb about Smart Fit Girls?
Absolutely. So Kelly and one of her best friends, Chrissy, actually started Smart Fit Women back in 2012 as a grad school project, which is incredible to me because we were all so busy in grad school. But so they started that, and as they were wellness coaching women, they realized that a lot of the body image stuff that was coming up in these coaching appointments uh, needed to be addressed far earlier than when we're all adults. And so she and Chrissy actually decided to start a nonprofit called Smart Fit Girls, and they go into different junior highs across the country, and they've been building this program over the past few years, and they work with these girls in after school programs to learn about how to keep their bodies healthy, but mostly through strength training, because it's such an empowering form of movement, and learning how to talk about their bodies and other people's bodies in a really positive, life-giving way. And so it's just a really neat thing, even to see pictures following them on Instagram as well, just to see all these girls and some of the testimonials that they'll give of, I used to feel this way about my body, but now I know I can do anything, just like wonderful.
That is so
Wonderful.
awesome.
Yeah.
Doesn't the world need more like strong, confident, competent women? And it does. It starts from a young age.
Yes, absolutely. And actually the data show us that once girls are hitting puberty, a lot of times their physical activity levels are really dropping off.
Mhm.
And it's hard to know exactly why that's the case, but essentially what Smart Fit Girls is trying to do is give them the confidence, because they're learning how to lift weights and how to move about a gym and stuff like that. And so to give them that confidence that if they want to continue exercising, they know they can.
Right. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brittni,
Thank
for
you, Michelle.
joining me. Please check out the links, the website, message them on Instagram. They would love to chat with you. And yeah, well, I'll just talk to you later, Brittni. I love
Thank you
you.
so much, Michelle. I love you too. Bye.
Bye.